Broadcasting live from the Murrow College of Communications. It's the Evan Pretzer Show. And now, your host, Evan Pretzer.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and we've gotten into the point of the program where we have something special for you. I don't want to get into the details, but it is, well, you know what? I'm going to do it anyway because I'm pretty proud of myself that I put this little ditty together. We have got an interview with the Remnants of the Heaven's Gate cult. For those of you that aren't aware, the Heaven's Gate cult was a group of nutcases that killed themselves in a mass suicide in San Diego in about 1997. They had a weird ideology, space Jesus, all that crap. But what's interesting about them is that the website for this cult is still active. So me, being the intrepid sleuth journalistic man that I am, I went and I emailed the people behind the site, and they agreed to answer my questions, not over the air, but in an email interview. So for this interview, we've got the staff narrator here at KUGR. I'm not going to say his name to keep the illusion, keep it intact. He is going to represent them when I conduct this interview. So joining me now, ladies and gentlemen, is the KUGR representative of the Heaven's Gate Remnant representatives. I want to thank you for popping on the show there. To start off, is there anything you can tell me about yourselves? I understand privacy concerns, but I'm sure you can reveal, a couple of tidbits if possible.
We were in the group for 12 years, and they trusted us to take care of the website, emails, and their physical and intellectual property. Interesting.
Now, what drew you to Heaven's Gate to begin with? Can you tell us about your first meeting with Marshall Applewhite and his nurse, Bonnie Nettles? And for those of you that don't know, Applewhite founded the cult after a near-death experience, and he believed that him and his nurse were, the people from the Book of Revelation. I can't remember the full thing, but it's, a little goofy. So can you tell us about first meeting them, if you please?
We met T and Doe at a meeting in Waldport, Oregon in September of 1975. We instantly knew who they were and prepared to go with them. It was a very interesting experience.
Interesting. Now, what were they like? Did their demeanor and eccentricities change throughout the years, or were they fairly consistent in how they conducted themselves around others?
They were always very thoughtful and caring in all that they did. There was nothing of some of the characterizations the media gave. They were direct, honest, and understanding individuals.
Interesting. That's one thing that a lot of people have noted, folks, that those who spent time within the cult have said that the people running the thing were surprisingly chill with people leaving. Like, it wasn't like a Jonestown where people who tried to leave were hunted down. It was, you want to leave, you go ahead and leave. And, that sort of lackadaisical attitude is probably what kept a lot of people around them. So, moving on, tell those of us who haven't heard of Heaven's Gate what it's all about. Can we get a rundown of the group's history, if you will?
The simple belief is that there is a real physical level above humans, one here on Earth. It is not a spiritual existence. It is real individuals, in real bodies, in real crafts taking care of issues on their planet. The next level, it is called, created this planet and all the life on it. The next level are the caretakers of not only this planet, but all the systems of the universe. From that, all the other beliefs follow. They periodically come down to this planet to check on this civilization's development. The last time they took a very close-up observation in human form was about from 1974 to 1977. The time before that was 2,000 years ago. At those times, they talked to those interested about the opportunity of the next level and how a very select few can enter into it only after a long period of transition and instruction. The simple history is T and Doe's awakening in 1972 and 1973. The group building through meetings in 1975 and 1976. It was a monastic type of life, and one could view us as as monks. We separated from normal human activity. There were meetings again in 1994. Many people came and left from the group. There was an open door policy, and individuals were free to learn where and how they could.
Interesting, interesting. If you're just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, we are here chatting with the remnants of the Heaven's Gate cult as represented by the KUGR official club narrator, if you will. When people don't want to do an on-air interview and just send questions by email, he's the guy whose voice you'll hear representing whoever wants to chat with me via email. Hell of a guy. I don't want to reveal his name so as to not break the illusion. Now, moving on, the group believed that the Earth was about to be recycled in an apocalyptic event, and yet we're still here. Did Applewhite lead innocent people to their deaths? Was he wrong?
The recycling is yet to occur in the future in the form of a natural catastrophe. No one led people to their deaths. Again, you are buying into the rumors of the press. The students wanted to do this, not Doe. No, T and Doe are not wrong in the understanding of this world and the level above this one.
Interesting. Now, one aspect of the mass suicide that people kind of fixated on was that everyone was wearing a matching uniform right down to the Nike shoes on their feet. Why did they go with matching tracksuits and Nike shoes for the suicide? What drew Applewhite towards those brands?
The group did want a standard uniform, and we sued those uniforms up in early 1997. The group bought the best deal they could get on shoes at a local shoe store. The brand could have easily been Converse or Adidas. They just happened to find about 40 pairs of identical shoes that were a Nike Decades brand.
Interesting. Now, are you both still in touch with other former members?
Yes, we talk to them via phone or email occasionally. Several have died from natural causes.
Interesting, interesting. Now, if you had to pick one regret from your time with the group, what would it be?
None as of yet. We love them all.
Curious. How curious. One of the more notable aspects of the group was that 8 male members were voluntarily castrated in Mexico. Was there debate over doing that, and were you pressured into doing that as well? I'm curious.
Again, those members pushed for that themselves. Doe really didn't want that to happen. In time, they asked him over and over, and he finally agreed to do it. Doe actually did it himself because he didn't want anyone to endanger themselves without him knowing what was going to occur. In the end, a total of 10 people did it. We have their hospital bills. No one pressured anyone.
Interesting, interesting. If you're just joining us here on the program, ladies and gentlemen, we are here chatting with the remnants of the Heaven's Gate cult that killed themselves in San Diego in the 1990s. Now, they agreed to answer my questions via email, but not make an appearance on the program. So doing the voice representation of the group's answers is the KUGR narrator. I'd reveal the man's name, but I don't want to break the illusion, so we'll move forward with the conversation. Now, moving on to the website that your group has, why do you still keep it up and maintain it? What's your motivation for doing that?
They asked us to keep up the site just as it was in March of 1997. It is a task we like to do.
Interesting. Now, how many emails do you get per day from, curious people that stumble across it? Does anyone ever want to start things up in the organization again on a serious level?
We get about 12 to 15 emails a day. Yes, some people want to start it up again, but that can't happen. Only someone from the next level can do that. No human can.
Interesting. Interesting belief. Now, I have to ask, what's one of the stranger emails that you've received? Because as we all know, the internet is a very dark and interesting place, so you've got to have attracted some colorful characters, if you will.
Desperate desire to commit suicide that we have to talk them away from. It happens a lot. We have to very carefully back them away from that fruitless act.
Interesting. What external factors and motivations outside of the group compelled you to keep the site up? Was there anything outside of the organization that made you think, hey, we should keep this going?
There are no other reasons.
Okay. Now, I'm sure my listeners and anyone who stumbles across this wants to know, do you guys have any Heaven's Gate stuff for sale? I always wanted one of those away team patches.
No patches. We have their book for $24.95. That's about it, other than some free VHS tapes.
Interesting. Okay. Now, one thing we've seen with cults through the years is that eventually they get examined by the feds, private investigators. We saw in the 70s Congressman Leo Ryan, the only congressman killed in the line of duty, by the way, and by all accounts he was a hell of a guy, went down to Jonestown to investigate and got shot at by the security guards and killed. So I have to ask, did the federal government or anyone else ever investigate Heaven's Gate during its heyday?
In 1975, the feds chased us after the CBS News report. They found we were all adults making adult decisions, so they dropped it.
Okay, that's fair. Have you guys ever thought of updating the site?
No, it is to be left as it is.
All right. Now, another thing with cults is, as we've seen with Scientology, a lot of celebrities and a lot of people can get attracted to these organizations. So, did anyone famous ever express their support or sympathize with the group and its ideology?
Not that we are aware of.
All right. Now, I understand Heaven's Gate did some web design. What's a notable business that sought your work out?
The business was called Higher Source, but we don't have anyone that you would know.
Okay, that's fair. Now, this is one of the more seemingly contradictory things that you guys have. Your website has a position against suicide. How do you reconcile that belief with what the group did at that mansion in San Diego in the 1990s?
For any human who tries it, it is suicide. For them, they were exempted, and it was not.
Yeah, all right. In closing, what would you say to your critics and those who are freaked out by your continuing presence on the internet?
Either learn from it or forget about it. It's not as big of a deal as some make it.
Okay. I want to thank you guys for coming on, and we'll let you go.
Click.
All right, everybody. That was the Heaven's Gate Cult Organization, as represented by the KUGR Club narrator, who's a hell of a guy. I'd reveal his name, but that's not going to happen. You're listening to the Evan Pretzer Show. We are going to take a break, and we'll come back with, something. I don't know what, but hey, this is my show, so I can tell you it'll be something that, at least I'll like.
The Evan Pretzer Show will be back next week. Be sure to follow Evan on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Thanks for listening.